Hopefulness 2.0, September 18th. It's been a while, a long while. In a way, it's a good thing. But if you'll notice, it's kind of like a mess going on here. Part of it is because I've been getting somewhat disappointing results from the dishwasher as of late. So, I gotta see about how to overcome that. Got me some chicken though. It's been a while since I've made bread or really made anything. Although I want to say it was last week? No. Well, kind of, because today's Sunday and it's like just after 11 o'clock a.m. and I don't know what day of the week it is half the time. But it was almost 2 weeks ago that I made some pâte à choux and made some pastry cream. But aside from that, I haven't really made any kind of bread related product in a while. I also kind of haven't done anything really. I'm usually just so tired. I'm tired when I get home from work, but it's not I'm so tired I just go straight to sleep kind of thing. Sometimes it is, but it's rare. God damn. This chicken is good though. I usually use this to make my bread stuff. I got chicken in it instead. Oh. I did get another shipment of kombucha. I'm thinking once a month is okay. Because I can spread it out for about a week. It's roughly 2 a day. But yeah, man, I've just been tired. There were days where I literally I got nothing. I did nothing but just basically lay around and do nothing. Last week, on Tuesday, I came home, took some NyQuil, some ibuprofen, some melatonin. I knocked out for 16 hours. And then I'll get up and it's I don't want to clean. I don't want to make anything. I'm doing the bare minimum when it comes to eating. I'll have... I think it took me almost 2 weeks before I made rice again. Between having made rice and made rice again, it was almost 2 weeks. Usually it's 3 days. Maybe 4, depending. All I did basically was just drink milk, some cream. I ate whatever I could at work, and that was kind of about it. I had some leftover bacon that I had made, so I would, eat off of that a little bit here and there too as well. Yeah, I don't know. I talked to my psychiatrist about it, and she seems more amenable to trying to figure out the stuff. Whereas when I'm talking with my therapist, it seems less about problem solving and more about just kind of chatting. Now, granted, I did learn some stuff from him last time I talked about his life and stuff, and those things can definitely, some of the stuff that he was dealing with, could very well have impacted how he was, sort of the change that was going on also with the kid too. But anyway, I was talking about it, she, talking to my psychiatrist, and she was like, well, it's okay to not do anything. You don't have to be productive. But I was like, I'm not even doing anything like I'm not maintaining well either. And, I get that she was trying to, be supportive and everything, and that's good. But at the same time, it's like, I gotta figure out how to kick myself in the ass sometimes, too. Because, this place is starting to turn into a damn mess. And, it's not difficult. Like, conceptually, it's not difficult to clean up. It's just that it's often difficult for me to get up and fucking do it. And even if I am doing it, it's hard for me to keep doing it. But the hardest part is to start. And that's part of an ADHD thing, but it's also part of a depression thing, too. And it's not like I have much to talk about either. Because, like, what little chance I do get a chance to talk to people at work, if I can anyway, it's not frequent. I try to have a conversation about real world shit. But often, it's like, what's going on with him kind of thing. For the first time today, I ended up talking with one of the clients that's been there for like 3 weeks, and I hadn't really seen him or talked to him about anything, and we had a good long, almost hour-long talk. And it was eye-opening as to, the circumstances of his life and, why he was there and everything. He's young. And, when he left, he was like, I think you're the first person to talk to me about the kind of stuff that, he's dealing with, because I've been dealing with the same kind of similar stuff. Not exactly the same, of course, but similar enough. He's a good 20-ish years younger than me. He's like 18, 19. He's dealt with a lot of shit. He's had, in a lot of ways, it's been worse than what I dealt with. And, I can only hope that the brief moments that I have, the brief moment, rather, that I had with him today and, any other potentials that might be coming up can, help mitigate his future so that he doesn't end up like me. So my life's rough, and there's a lot to it. He was talking about how he's been seeing therapists since he was, super small and everything. And it's good. Everybody needs to see therapists on a regular basis. Like, that should be typical. Just like it's typical to go see your dentist every so often. It's typical to go see your general practitioner every so often. It's good to go see your therapist every so often, too. And if you are in need of any kind of medication, to see a psychiatrist, because, like, you can be diagnosed by a psychologist, but they can't prescribe medication for you. Whereas a psychiatrist can, because they're a medical doctor in that regard. And, like, we have guys who don't want to be on, certain meds because of the way it makes them feel and everything. And it's reasonable because, if it makes you feel a certain way, it sucks. But as part of, like, the protocols of where we work, it's like you have to maintain these medications, because otherwise, like, your insurance will be like, well, never mind, we're not going to pay for you. We're not going to let you have to get kicked out. Because, like, if we don't maintain your medication compliance, we can get into some kind of trouble. I don't know exactly what, but, and, it's like, we've had clients who are like, well, I talked to the counselors about this and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but they're not in a position to change your medication regimen. They are not medical doctors who can prescribe and unprescribe medications and stuff. Now, you can just go off med and not deal with it. But in doing so, there are consequences. I've pretty much repeated that. And, it sucks to have to, when you know a person doesn't want to take a medication. They talk about all these symptoms and stuff, and it's like, okay, I understand that. But my job isn't to force anybody to take meds, because I don't administer anything. I give them the bottle, they open it, they dump out the dose, they close the bottle and give it back. I don't open it and, allocate and make sure. They're the ones that are doing that. And, that's the process that needs to be done. If they want to change it, they have to talk to a medical doctor on staff whenever they're available. They're not always available though, so yeah. Yeah, it's rough sometimes. But, it's like certain people are a little more difficult to handle. But one thing I've also found out is if you give somebody an opportunity to talk about themselves and talk about what they're going through, it's easier to do the job. Earlier, the young kid, he was like, hey, are you guys gonna write me up if I vape in here? I'm like, yeah, those are the rules. I know. You just want to, maybe have a hit or two or something like that. You got to go outside. You got to go in the smoking areas. And you might be thinking, well, how big of a deal is it? It's not how big is this place? It's not that big. It's like a big house. It's like a big 3-story house. We can easily fit 20 people into it. And if all of the rooms were people sleeping in them and not offices and stuff, you could probably have 30 people in that place easily. It's a big goddamn house, and it's basically a big ass multi-generational house type situation. But it's not so big that you can't walk out of the because there's a door from the kitchen to the outside, and it's maybe 10-15 feet away from, you gotta smoke away from the building because it's a legal thing for Pasadena. Now, one might say, well, why is it such a big deal? Because there's protocols, there's rules. It's follow the rules, everything will be fine. And it's not about follow the fucking rules or everything can be fine. It's not like that. It's you're here so that you can get better. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build better habits. And based on what I understand, he hasn't had anybody to really understand him. And of course, he's young and he's impulsive and it's one of the reasons why he's where he's at, and he's dealt with the shit that he's dealt with. And it's most people, I've had it's I've had people question whether or not they can basically break a rule, and I've said no, because there's rules for a reason. But I'm not being a hard ass about it either. I'm no, because this is the process that we have to do. This is what we're doing. This is what you've agreed to do. And I don't know, it's weird because like it feels like obviously there's people who are trying to test the waters. They're trying to figure out. They're kind of like the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park. They're hitting the. They're hitting certain spots on the electrified fence to see if certain points are going to get weak, and that's normal human behavior. We all try to test boundaries all the time, and at the same time, not only does it feel like they're trying to test me, but it also, and this is just my interpretation, but it kind of feels like some of them don't want to disappoint me. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. You know, I try to be amenable. I try to be friendly. I try to make sure that what's being said is also heard. And not just that, but like, but heard and understood, and like not necessarily agreed upon. Like if somebody said that they deal with a certain thing in life, it's not that they're there to agree with them. I mean, who gives a fuck? It's about listening to it and indicating your understanding in some way or another. You know, whether it's dealing with an arrest or something. You know, guys were talking about their arrest earlier. You know, I wanted to throw out. I was gonna kind of interject at some point and throw out like, hey, here, because they were kind of like talking about some of the embarrassing shit, and I was like, when you talk about that stuff, when you talk about the things that are embarrassing to you, that are shameful, it humanizes you to other people. Now, obviously, there's people out there who they will, they'll take that information and try to use it against you. And that's not fair, and that's straight up douchebaggery, and that's one of the reasons why people are inclined to hold something close to the chest. And I had mentioned, same with me when it came, because like there's certain guys who broke certain laws because of this, and this, and guys are like, man, it's just saying that makes me feel shameful, and I feel embarrassed to even think about like that being a thing in my life, and I'm just like, that's normal. We all want to hold stuff close to our chest, especially things that, and I didn't really say it this way, but things that makes us feel vulnerable. And then I told about the homelessness thing, and I was like, I didn't tell anybody for like 2 years. I did everything I possibly could to lie about it in one way or another. I made sure that I was clean and blah 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 and all this stuff. Just because I didn't want people to really I didn't want people that I might have gotten close to in some way to know. And that was kind of like my story, and then I was going to talk about the tweet and the jail and stuff like that. But the homelessness thing, I'm sure to some degree is also it's another thing that's about our histories that make us who we are, and we may have been. It's like I'm not shameful of it anymore, because it's not happening. It's something I'm trying to avoid, of course. There's a place, out east that, I'd only have to take one train to get there. I'd only probably shave off like, I want to say it was like 20 to 30 minutes tops, depending on circumstances and stuff like that. But since it would only be one train ride, but it would also be like 10 minutes of walking and then like nearly a half hour walking. So like just like I'd be able to get to work quicker and get home quicker, but not by a significant amount. And And from the pictures that I saw, I mean, seems like a pretty good option. And it's like $1,000. I didn't see anything about utilities being included or not, but like even if I wanted to move over into it, I don't have any money for it. Like I don't have $1,000 just waiting right now. And so I was looking into the potential for like a loan, and if I wanted to get one from the bank, I think the minimum's like $3,000, which would take a while to pay back. I don't know. I should probably just head up to the bank at one point and just like have a conversation about it. But I also like trying to just see like if I could get a effectively a quote. I was reminded that my credit's frozen. Yes, I did that back during the Equifax leak. So I can't even get like pulls or anything right now. So I gotta get that taken care of before I can do anything else. So yeah, I got things I gotta take care of. But you know, it's whatever. And yeah, I mean, if I was able to get something that was closer, that was like $1,000 a month, that'd be pretty awesome. And then it got me thinking about cats, and looking for places that are relatively nearby for like cat cafes. Because there's that other one that I used to go, that I went to, but it was like it's up in fucking Beverly Hills or whatever, and it's a pain to get there because like there's no real direct route through the train system, through the transit system, and like the easiest, best way to do it is through Uber, and that's just not cheap anymore. But yeah, it's a thought. And I was also thinking because like really the next major steps that I want in my life are to move closer to work, in a place that is less expensive, if that's even remotely possible. And doing so would A, provide me with more time in the day for myself, but B, more money. And doing that would then permit me to looking into adopting a cat or two. And obviously one of the things that I would like to do, like, one of the things that I've been like, I want to get the oldest cat, and I also want to get the cat who's been here the longest. But what I really need to do is look into who could be a beginner cat. Because it's been too long since I've had a cat. And I've never, I didn't have the cat myself. It was the family cats. My mother lived with them, she was one that did all the super important shit. Yeah, I know how to clean out a fucking litter box and feed cats and all that shit, but it's when it comes down to, other shit, vet visits and all sorts of other things, that I haven't done. And I would want effectively what you could classify as a beginner cat, one that's less likely to have health problems, less likely to, run out of the damn house and go get themselves injured or something like that. So probably not a kitten. Someone who's one that's been relatively well trained on its own before coming into the adoption agency, what have you. Yeah. But that's not going to happen until I can move, so. I can't move if I don't have any money. About the only way I'm going to be able to get any money is if I can get a loan. The only way I can get a loan is if I unfreeze my shit. And even if I can't get a loan, let's say at my bank, I might be able to get one at, let's say, the credit union or something like that. So There's multiple steps that I gotta do. But in recent weeks, I've been watching more like old Jesse Cox videos, series, playthroughs and stuff. That it's kind of like. So I was watching him play Crisis, and then I was like, man, I want to play that game. I should play it. The story's not all that great, but like the game itself is pretty crazy, and like even on normal, it's fucking hard. It's a hard game. It is very easy to get your ass. I mean, like, you're supposed to be a super soldier, and it is easy as fuck for them to kill your ass. Going in guns blazing just don't work. And I'm close to the end of it, and it's been a rough fucking go. So I'll like play it for a little bit, and then I'll get frustrated because I'm just getting my ass obliterated. And then it's like, all right, checkpoint. Fuck, just give up for now and watch something else or whatever. And so I'm watching Jesse Cox's playthrough Rage, which in of itself is a weird ass game. But because of the ending, I'm like, well. And also, I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that's involved in that game that I really don't care about. So I wouldn't really want to buy it and play it. But it makes for good entertainment if you have the right person playing it. And I think Jesse does a great job of it. It's kind of like his playthrough of, and I'm probably going to watch it, his playthrough of Deus Ex Human Revolution. Another really solid game with a great story. And yeah, he's a weirdo when he does it, but it makes it entertaining. And because the story is so good, like he starts getting really into the lore and everything, and he starts making all these predictions and shit, and he does he was surprising in some of his predictions, in fact. So I'm probably going to watch that when I'm done with the Rage one. Yeah. But that's what I've been doing on my free time, is just sticking around, playing a hard-ass video game while watching somebody else play it better than me. Even though he's not that great at it. If that says anything. Well, I can't think of anything else, so have fun.